Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Bushcraft family with another video, and a lot of talk has been going on about all these data centers and stuff going up, and AI data centers. Um, there's a lot of them going up. In fact, there's over 1,500 data centers planned this year alone. Um, And out of all the talks about data centers and what they are and what they're used for and impact and everything, not to mention most of these data centers are built on our farmland. They're not in the cities or anything like this. They're in rural areas off to themselves. And there's a reason why, if it's far and away from prying eyes, nobody actually pays too much attention to it. Now, these data centers use tons of energy. That's the main thing everybody's concerned about, the energy usage. Well, there's something more important than the energy they use. They actually use um, tons, tons of water, or gallons of water. Um, they There's a Google data center in Pryor, Oklahoma. One of the company's largest facilities uses about 1.1 billion gallons of water each year. Now, if you do some research, the data centers, especially on Google, they talk about they reuse the same water and to cool the processors, the servers and everything. They get extremely hot, and the only way to cool them is water. There is air turbines and this and that, but majority of these places use water, and most of these places don't have to have a permit uh, to use this water. They don't have to have a permit to get rid of this water. And let me flip over to another page real quick. Um, where does this water go? Um, it They say up to 80% of the water evaporates, and with evaporation, where does it go? It goes up into the sky. Um, what is the process that they use to um, is there any chemicals within this water that would reduce the amount of evaporation that they use, because they want to keep the water in their systems? So, is there a chemical they use? Well, there's been many studies on said facilities, and a lot of the investigating companies find nothing, no traces of anything. This goes to the water that is discharged from these facilities. Where do they go? Or where does this water go? Same place your water goes when you flush the toilet, you wash the dishes, um, whatever. It goes down to a water treatment plant where it gets cleaned and reused. Um, if you didn't know, now you know. When you flush the toilet, it goes to a water treatment place. They clean it, and you drink it again, so to speak. Um, on average, people living in cities drink uh, recycled water at least 27% or 27 times uh, in a year. I can just imagine what California and, you know, LA, the big cities and stuff, how much they are drinking recycled water. Well, that's beside the point. That's beside the point. But the fact being is, these places do not have any regulations at all. They don't have permits for using the water. They don't have, like in Tennessee, uh, the Muskie guy, his AI data centers, he uses propane to power his data centers. Let me see if I can find this. Yeah, in Memphis, Tennessee, Muskie XAI installed nearly 20 natural gas turbines to power a data center without first obtaining any air permits. Yes, you need permits. If you have anything that is releasing in the air or you're taking from the air, you need permits. And these data centers don't have to get these permits by, I'm not saying everyone, allegedly, all of them, the majority of the bigger ones go through and never get a permit for a lot of this stuff. There's no checks and balances for said water that is being used to keep these data centers running. There's no checks or balances for the water that's coming out of them, what chemicals they're using. And like I said, nobody is talking about the water usage. Just forget everything else that we're talking about, but the actual water usage of these data centers. And again, there's thousands of them, and there's thousands more being planned, spread all through your farmlands and areas. Again, 1.1 billion gallons of water each year for one of these data centers. That's about 8.3 billion bottles of water a year. You know, that's 10,000 times more than an average household would use in a lifetime. That's outrageous. The prior data center uses an evaporated cooling system, so most of the water used is lost in evaporation. That means it goes up in the sky. What that impact does is still, they don't know. The same is the impact on releasing what water there is down the drain. Nobody knows what, because nobody's checking this water to see what chemicals are in it or what the impact is on our areas. They're releasing billions of water and evaporation into the sky. What is that doing to our system, our climate and stuff? Everybody's talking about global warming this and we need to go to electric cars and stuff. But the fact is, we are pumping moisture into the air at alarming rates. Here in Ohio, I'm not saying this has anything to do with it, but here in Ohio, we're right now, my county is flooding. The counties below us are flooding. I can show you tons of pictures of our roadways and houses and everything underwater right now. I don't know. I'm not saying this has anything to do with it, because Ohio has been getting a lot of data centers popping up all over the place. We have them here in this county to where we're actively protesting about them. Again, this is nuts that so much water is being tossed into the air, so to speak. Since certain data centers have been placed in Oklahoma, Oklahoma has been riddled with a lot more tornadoes than normal. I'm not saying this is what it's, you know, the issues of a data center going, but, you know, statistics, you know, paperwork, you know, whatever. They're seeing the uprise in storms and stuff. And is this because there's extra moisture in the air? I don't know. But there has to be something out there that makes sure that these data centers are on the up and up, and not just paying somebody to look under the table, or, you know, move the data up other places so we don't know what's going on. It's time we crack down on a lot of this. But again, like I said, whatever doesn't get evaporated into the air goes down the drain. And there's, again, it's just like flushing a toilet for a corporation. Now, again, there is no there's no investigation what this water does to if it even get, if this chemicals or reaction of whatever process they use to cool the data center, what effect this water has, because there's nobody checking what this water has in it, and if it can be even cleaned at a water treatment place. What are we to do? You know, there is nobody checking, and nobody seems to care about any of this stuff. But there are a few people still out there trying to, you know, and protest and this and about data centers coming into their area. And again, the politicians will sling it saying, "Oh, these are activists. They are these people," and you know, they turn the tides on the people who are wanting to protect their communities, and it goes away, so to speak, because, oh, we're just a bunch of crazy nuts, or conspiracy nuts, you know, this and that. But before you condemn somebody protesting about a data center in your area, stop and think about what is going to be coming out of that data center. 80% of billions of gallons of water, not to mention just the usage of that water, more than millions of people. It's just crazy the amount of water they use. Anyways, I just thought this was an important subject to talk about, and the usage of the power that they use is just crazy. And we go to stoplights, and 80% of the streets and the power systems and the grid is 10, 20 years even 50 years old because we're putting all of our money into data centers and this and that instead of rebuilding what we do have. Anyways, I'm done for the rant. Until next time, like always, God bless.